Meta,
Nice.
what is your topic?
All right, so it's not going to be about samurais again. I'm going to keep up this
2
trend of
weeks
mine
in a
for bit.
row?
I know it's a little bit
Sudoku.
insane.
Sudoku.
I actually have to play. If it makes you feel any better, I have to play the new Neo DLC. I haven't actually gotten to it yet, but I will play it, and I will probably talk about it in a very, very short segment.
Someday.
And that's what it is. But no, my topic is about a little bit of something that I feel like we need to have a talk about.
I didn't do it.
Yes, you did.
Yep.
Damn it. How did you find out?
It wasn't me,
I
Mom,
knew
I
it.
swear. Don't whip me again.
We need to have a talk. Okay. That's code sign for I'm in trouble.
Yep.
No, I actually want to talk about DRMs and digital distribution platforms in general. Obviously the most famous one we know about is Steam. It's most famous for just being this huge conglomeration of it. But I gotta ask your guys' opinions on this. Do you actually like them all that much? Do you feel neutral to them? Like there's ups and downs, or do you not really like them? Because for me, I'm not always that fond of them. You see a number of them come and go. There's been a number that have gone over the years. You've got
This includes like the humble bundles and stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Well, that stuff's usually DRM free.
Yeah, that's true. But some of it's, sometimes either DRM free or not. But all the same, it's a platform that distributes your digital content upon. When you see something like that, akin to quote unquote
Origin and
Origin. You have obviously Steam. There was Direct to Drive, GOG.com. If you guys remember those at all.
Good Old Games is still around, as far as I know.
yeah, it is.
Okay, sweet, awesome. You've got
So Steam definitely has sort of a monopoly, and people have definitely become pretty complacent with it.
Yeah.
DRM and then digital distribution things are like two separate things. Steam is a form of DRM or whatever. Basically.
Well, they sometimes you get the packaged in them. It's more just talking about them because Origin is famous for that, for being both DRM and digital distribution.
Yeah, but you can't play a Steam game without Steam, so it is a form of
Yep.
DRM. But I don't know. I'm conflicted, I guess, on them. When it comes to an individual company putting DRM in their own game, I understand why they would want to, obviously, and I don't think you can, or I can't say, I'm not going to say that they're not allowed to try and protect their IPs and whatnot, basically.
Yes,
but usually,
you definitely say that.
I'm not going to fault them for trying to, personally. But usually, it's done in an intrusive way that is annoying to deal with.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement.
Give me an example of how people have been intrusive, because I haven't actually,
the
whole DRM side I haven't looked into a lot.
Needing to download Uplay or something. Or
I don't know,
full online connectivity is
always online.
Always online.
So the Diablo 3 stuff, basically. I know that was a big. I think people talked about having to play Diablo online back in the day when Diablo 3 came out.
But obviously, SimCity was also a big one.
Yep, SimCity.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Despite, SimCity had essentially baked in a multiplayer that you had to be connected because you were forced to have that multiplayer aspect, regardless if you wanted it or not.
But it is also a form of DRM.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely.
And then they also did it with the Xbox One originally. They were going to have it always
on. There was that was huge controversy.
Is when a game is a single player game, it's meant to be just you playing through a story. I should not have to be online in order to enjoy that, and that's when it starts becoming a problem.
I think more it becomes a problem is that when it starts to restrict what you can do with the content that you've quote unquote bought for it. Obviously, DRM is there to protect a company, a developer, and the stuff that they put in there because that is the product that they put blood, sweat, and a lot of money into.
Right.
So there's obviously they want to protect it, but you get stuff like where it's always online, or you can't share it, or you can only lend it out to so many people, or you have to go through these extra processes or steps. Those kind of things is when it starts to become problematic. When something that doesn't need to be that way and ultimately doesn't benefit to the protection of the software anyway.
On the other side of it, the reason they keep going to more drastic steps is because people keep breaking what they have, right? Things are still pirated.
Well, yeah, it's always, but you're always gonna have an arms race.
Sure.
There's nothing you can do about that. But there's definitely good ways to go about finding better ways to protect your content, and bad ways about trying to, protect your content.
I'm sure, but who's to say what those are?
Well, I
feel like
don't know.
the player base has a very good weight on that.
Player base. I'll say this much. The always online from the Xbox One, the inability to share certain content unless that person, you only had a limited amount of shares you could do with somebody else. If you're breaking that tech and making illegal copies of it, that's not going to do anything to stop you. Beyond that, I just have my buddy, he sees up doing his one uses. Now I'm going to take the copy, I'm going to break it, and now I'm going to do whatever I want with it because I've already broken it, and it doesn't stop me from anything.
Yeah, wasn't there a big controversy around because some people trade in their games. I think Tets has talked about how he used to trade in. He basically trades in games when he knows he isn't going to play them anymore.
Yep.
So
people trading in games, and it was going to prevent people from being able to pick up that game because the game might have already been used too many times, and then therefore it's the dead game.
Yep.
It's a break.
Everyone that would have killed GameStop if everyone had went to that mall.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of the old computer games would include inside the booklet like a little code that you had put in or whatever.
Yeah, that's also getting into a whole other topic, which is the secondary market.
Yeah. But I mean, it comes back to though that we can't be who's to say if it's good or bad. There are times where it's actually pretty easy for me to say this is good, this is bad.
Sure.
Not agreed with or not, but it's sometimes very clear what is not going to work and what isn't.
It's also who gets to determine what people can do with their own product, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a hard decision to make for me because I didn't make it. I mean, I want to enjoy it as much as I can, but
it's
if I don't like something enough, I cannot buy it.
Exactly.
But.
It's if it bothers you to that extent, you just don't buy it. Then the company, you vote with your wallet, and then the company has to take a hard look at, is what we're doing, putting this DRM on our games, actually hurting our sales, and then make a choice of whether they want to stop doing it or not, I guess.
Ain't that the truth with the whole I hear that utilized so many times. You pay with your wallet, and it's true. Don't get me wrong, it's very true. But by God,
usually these AAA games, there's enough other forces driving them.
Yep.
It's not really, you're not going to be
That's the game.
Yeah, that's kind of the issue is that you could say
thus far nothing has gone far enough to push enough people to not buy it, basically.
Nope.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, there's a myriad of reasons.
Yeah, voting with your wallet is the whole theory. It's never going to happen because there are people who literally just. It's like the Call of Duty thing. People will just buy Call of Duty every time one comes out.
Advertising is a powerful force.
Yes. Immensely.
Just more than you can really understand at times.
EA is going to forever make crap games.
There was, I mean, if you remember a while back, and unfortunately I can't remember the game that really brought this about, but it was, I think it was the first, I don't remember the game. Yeah, see, I'm not remembering the game, but it's they made a sequel to it not too recent, not too long ago. And it was the high-tech future one. It was the where you were a hacker. You're playing as a hacker.
Watch Dogs?
Yes, that one. The pre-ordering of that game kind of led into the whole the awareness of, not pre-ordering games, and that eventually led into some other games and their faults for being pre-ordered bring out, and eventually there was for a short period of time, because that's about the attention span that we've got. There were a lot of people that were posting out, remember, don't pre-order stuff, wait till you actually have the game come out. It was short-lived, but it was enough that people were shouting, don't be pre-ordering that shit.
And that was right about the same time too that No Man's Sky was dropping, and I feel like
No
that
Man's
started
Sky.
the same reaction.
I think that really was the pinnacle of it, was No Man's Sky for no reordering. That was the defining factor of it. But No Man's Sky was
I mean,
Oh my gosh.
that's bad for a whole different reason. It has nothing
Yeah.
to do with DRM or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, absolutely.
so. But yeah, so that kind of really go bring it back to what it was really about. I was like, that's really where the DRM affects stuff, and in connection to either not being connected to or in connection with digital distribution.
I'm kind of curious because I mean we talked about Steam a little bit ago. What's your guys' like brief opinion? Do you think like because Steam has its benefits and its bad sides? You get like good games, you can usually find them on sale. Gets them in the hands of more people because computers and technology are becoming more cheap and more accessible. More and more people are playing games on PCs.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a good way of like basically like being able to port games to PC and keep old games around and promote like the history of gaming in general. But does you think like in some cases it does bad stuff too, where like you get these literally like dog crap like $3 games that oversaturate the market because Steam has like
Steam
thousands of
Greenlight.
games.
Well,
Steam
yeah.
Greenlight likes to regurgitate everything it eats.
It is dead now.
What was
so-
what's
It is dead. Yeah, they're
What's-
changing it. They're actually working on this. I know that for a fact.
That's good.
They're actually working on how it's going to be done. They're working on a lot in dealing with what they allow because even Steam recognized that, like, yeah, this is it's just vomiting
What's
out
the-
everything.
It used to, what it was is it used to be that you could just throw up anything, and then they changed it where you paid a flat $100 fee, and then you could post whatever you wanted. And then now it's changing to you have to pay the $100 per game submitted. But once you make, I think it's $1,000 in sales, you get the $100 back.
They're also putting up a system where people's input on what a game is and isn't should be because I don't know if you've ever heard of this.
They are getting a group of volunteers to curate it, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
And then they're also working to go against the games that are literally put up there for because you know about the badges and whatnot where you can sell them off for like cents. There's a whole fucking market for that.
Yep.
People literally play that like the stock market.
it's just so
they
weird
want
to me.
Yeah, but they really want to cut that back because there are developers out there who literally just create crap games for the badges to
Also
add
for
to the market.
achievements.
Yes.
That Mayo simulator. Just
But,
tap X, get your platinum.
Yeah, there's I think it's good to have more of them. Like Origin started off pretty bad, but it's actually come around and is a lot better
yeah.
service now.
My bigger issue
But
with
competition helps out against Steam because Steam, I mean, when it has it dominant in the market, it can like
Do whatever.
it charges like what 30% off of every game sold, and it gets charged this because it's got the biggest player base. And then it does things like they make millions upon millions of dollars, but then they don't want to hire people. They just want to get people who will volunteer their time for free to curate their own marketplace.
And never put out Half-Life 3.
Right.
never put out Half-Life.
Well, why should they? They can make all this money off of Dota 2.
well, as they've put it, for the Half-Life 3, just very short, and we'll get back to the digital distribution topic. But for Half-Life 3, they're pretty free on like what people want to do, and it's just apparently that nobody on the development team really wants to do Half-Life 3. So there you go. That's it.
I don't care. I just know it's the big one everyone drops about. So
But throwing it back to digital distribution in general, I like the fact that you can bring like old games like Final Fantasy VII. It's really kind of hard to find that or even play it now, just because not only are we past the point where there's not tons of backwards compatibility unless it's like on the market.
and they fixed the old PC version of the game too.
Yep. But it allows you to like grab games like that for that a time you really couldn't play all that easily. So I really like it for that. But what I hate about Steam is when I go and buy a game that I didn't buy off of Steam at all. I come home and I want to install that game. It then does it through freaking Steam. So anytime I want to play that game, though I have the actual, CD installation, everything on my machine, I have to open it up through Steam. I hate that.
That's DRM because they partnered with Steam.
Exactly.
It is a Steam game, even though you bought it physically.
I know, and but I remember the days where like and I remember the days where you didn't really have to do that. Like, if you bought it through the Steam platform, you could buy it through the Steam platform. But there's companies who will only do it through that one platform. There is no other way. There's times where you can go.
I was going to say that I understand that frustration, but I guess for me, like, because I kind of leave my Steam open all the time, it doesn't have to open up Steam in order to play it.
I mean, there's also what happens if Steam ever goes away. I mean, you can't install that game anymore.
Yeah, that's
the issue.
Yeah.
If there's also things that are tied to, like, you need the Steam platform up and running to for an account for certain things that are in the background.
I mean, Steam basically is always online.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is that, like, if I, for instance, like, let's say I really cared about achievements. I don't, but let's say I did. If Steam's not up, but I'm still playing the game, if something happens to Steam, it may not count that stuff. It may not pull it in because it's offline.
I've had that problem.
And that is an issue that I do not like. I want my game, and I get it, like, obviously, because, that's just DRM, and that's the digital distribution kind of mingling again together. But I don't like that idea. I like the fact that, like, I don't need this to play this, or I might lose something if I don't have this. Even if I can still play it, I might not get everything out of it because I don't have this open.
To be fair, though, like, when it comes to achievements and trophies and stuff like that, it's always tied to that. Like trophies are tied to PlayStation Network, not to the game itself. Achievements are tied to Xbox Live, not to the game itself. So.
You can still get them offline, though.
Yeah, and that's kind of point. It's like, even if you got them offline.
But on Steam, like if you're in offline mode, it will save it, and then the next time you connect online, it uploads it to the server.
Which is nice. Which is by the way, like, my gripe is a small one.
Yeah.
It's a quality of life thing more than anything else in my eyes. But I mean, like, you're absolutely right. Like, if you play an offline mode, it'll just save it and then upload it later on, and you're fine, and it's great and it's awesome. But those are still small things that I don't care for and I don't like. And maybe I'm being the grandpa here, but that is something that does bother me. Like, I don't know. I remember a time when you kids and your newfangled technology. I just remember a time where I bought a game and, like, I had choices. I could either get it through Steam or I could buy it physically, and I didn't need Steam. Amnesia did that, and they were a freaking tiny company. You could do it through Steam, or you could buy a physical copy and never have to touch anything on Steam for that. That was fantastic, and they were like a small company. They had two different forms of distribution on this, and then a game like Evolve comes along, and it only does it through Steam. Now Evolve blew up, so I mean,
get off my lawn. That's what
you can still try and go the DRM-less route. Like, Good Old Games, I think, is all DRM free.
Yeah, it's all DRM free.
And there are plenty of people who try and do that. Even if, like, in kickstarting games, you can be like, I want the Steam version, or I want the DRM-less version.
Yep.
But that's not always an option, and I guess, again, you can try and vote with your wallet, but
yeah, that's the issue. The vote comes back to vote with your wallet, but
you gotta have like everyone saying that for it to matter.
See, you don't have these problems when you're primarily a console gamer. This is one point when the PC Master Race fails. I'm just going to throw that out there and catch a lot of flack for it, but I'm throwing it out there.
I like console gaming.
Don't you talk about my PC
too,
Master Race? Actually,
I mean, that's not completely true. Once Destiny servers go offline, you can't play Destiny 1 anymore. That's only a console game.
That is true. That's going to suck, by the way. If you really love Destiny 1 and like they just finally decide to shut down the servers. I can't talk right. Servers. I know what I said.
And there's a good chance they'll probably do it within the next year.
Yeah. I mean, that was if you've ever played Phantasy Star Online, the Phantasy Star Online series was famous for that. They generally, once the new product came out, they tended to shut down the old servers because there was just no reason to keep them around. It doesn't matter if you want to play Phantasy Star Online Blue Burst. The only way you can play that game now is if you play that on a private server.
Digital archiving is an interesting topic as well.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about private servers one day.
Yeah, we should actually.
It's a good topic idea.
It's a good topic. Yep. But yeah. So
I think we're all pretty much for the most part with you, Meta.
Yeah.